All right, so we're back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
And this time we're looking at a Premier League matchup that on the surface, might
Yeah.
seem pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But when you actually dig into the numbers a little
Yeah.
bit, you sent over some really interesting stats and previews about Newcastle versus Bournemouth.
Right.
And, at first glance, you might think, oh, well, Newcastle are flying high. They're in the top four.
Yeah.
And Bournemouth are kind of, mid-table.
Right.
But both these teams are on incredible runs right now. And,
Absolutely.
yeah, so how about we just jump right into it
Let's do it.
and take a closer look?
Yeah.
Because, we've got Newcastle sitting pretty, they're in that Champions League spot right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Bournemouth,
They're quietly climbing.
they're not going away.
Right.
Yeah, they're on this record-breaking, unbeaten streak, and it seems like nobody's really talking about it.
Yeah, and I think what's fascinating here is you wouldn't typically see a top four team like Newcastle squaring off against Bournemouth, with both sides kind of boasting these incredible runs of form.
Right.
Newcastle have quietly climbed the table with a win streak, a series of wins, and then you have Bournemouth are on this record-breaking unbeaten streak. It's a clash of momentum, that's for sure.
It really is. I mean, and just to think about the styles here, Newcastle at home have been an absolute wall, but Bournemouth's attack has been no joke either.
Right.
So
it's
a strength against strength, which makes this match super exciting.
Yeah, so...
Where do we even begin with all this? I mean...
Well, let's start with Newcastle's dominance.
Okay.
At St. James Park, they're not just winning, they're controlling matches.
Right.
Their last 3 home games, all wins with 3 goals or more and not a single goal conceded.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about 68% possession, 9 shots on target per game, and a pass completion rate of over 85%.
Wow.
They're suffocating their opponents.
Yeah, those numbers are ridiculous.
Yeah.
I've got to throw this in here because for all their defensive prowess at home, Newcastle have never, ever managed a clean sheet against Bournemouth in the Premier League at St. James's Park.
You're kidding.
Not once. So, is this the match where they finally break that curse? I mean, what do you think it'll take for Newcastle to shut them out? I mean, are we talking tactical masterclass? Are we talking a little bit of luck here?
Honestly, it might come down to neutralizing Bournemouth's key players.
Okay.
Especially Antoine Semenyo.
Right.
He's been a menace on the road, especially in the second half.
Yeah.
All 4 of his away goals this season have come after the break. So if Newcastle can keep him quiet early on, they might just break that clean sheet curse.
That's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that. And, speaking of attack, Bournemouth have been firing on all cylinders lately. I mean, 10 games unbeaten across all competitions. That's 6 wins, 4 draws. And they even almost took down Chelsea at Stamford Bridge.
I know.
They were denied by a last-minute equalizer. It's just insane.
That Chelsea game was a real statement. They showed they're not just racking up points against weaker sides. They can go toe-to-toe with the big boys. And their current Premier League streak is nothing to sneeze at. 9 games unbeaten. It's their best ever at this level.
I mean, and the thing is they're not just grinding out results. They're entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, they've scored at least 2 goals in their last 6 away matches. Like, they're not afraid to just go for it,
They're going for it.
Yeah.
But their defensive record away from home
Tells a different story.
tells a very different story.
Right.
They've also conceded at least twice in 4 of those 6 away games. And if you dig a little deeper, there's a concerning trend for Bournemouth fans. 14 of the 18 away goals they've conceded this season have come before the hour mark.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it suggests a vulnerability early in matches.
So if I'm understanding this right, a fast start for Newcastle could be the key here, right?
Absolutely.
Capitalize on that early weakness before Bournemouth can kind of find their rhythm and really get going.
Exactly. Newcastle's pressing style combined with Bournemouth's tendency to concede early makes that opening 30 minutes absolutely crucial.
That's a great point. Okay, so let's talk about the guy who's been leading that Newcastle attack, Alexander Isak. I mean, this guy is on fire, scoring in 8 straight Premier League matches. 8.
Oh.
He's closing in on Jamie Vardy's record of 11.
I know.
What's the secret sauce behind his success?
It's not just luck that Isak is on this tear. I think he's mastered that near-post run, and Newcastle's midfielders are feeding him these perfectly timed passes.
Yeah.
It's a tactical synergy we haven't seen in Newcastle in quite some time.
Wow. Okay, so we've got these two teams both at the top of their game, each with their strengths and their weaknesses.
Yeah.
But what about the head-to-head? I mean, what can we learn from the past here?
Well, the history between these two at St. James's Park is quite interesting.
Okay.
Newcastle are actually winless in their last 5 league meetings against Bournemouth.
Really?
Yeah, 4 draws and a loss.
Mm.
And remember that clean sheet stat? Well, it extends to their entire Premier League history.
Whoa.
Newcastle has never shut out Bournemouth at home.
So will history repeat itself, or is this the match where Newcastle finally breaks the pattern? I mean, given all the data we just talked about, what's your gut feeling on this one?
Honestly, it's a tough one to call.
Yeah.
Bournemouth's resilience and their attacking threat can't be ignored, but Newcastle's home form is truly formidable. If I had to pick, I'd lean slightly towards Newcastle.
Okay.
But with Bournemouth finding the net at least once,
Okay.
I think we're in for a tense and exciting match, for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree. This is going to be a classic clash of styles. Newcastle's defensive solidity versus Bournemouth's free-flowing attack.
Yeah.
So for all of you listening out there, here's something to think about. Could this match turn into like a tactical chess match where both managers adjust their strategies on the fly?
Right.
Will we see a more conservative Newcastle, or will they stick to their guns and press high? I think you've got to keep an eye on those early substitutions because that could tell us a lot about how this match is going to unfold.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
I can't wait.
Tune in for this one.
It's going to be good.
All right. That's it for our deep dive this week. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back next week with another fascinating matchup. See you then.
See you.